Hi, welcome to our mini-series focused on different aspects of leadership. This mini-series is designed to be short, sharp and thought-provoking. So let's jump into this episode.
How can a leader find support to build their leadership skills up while finding their own leadership style?
In my experience, any leader is on a constant journey of learning about themselves, their leadership style, and how to effectively work and manage their team. Some people or some leaders that I've worked with have had some leadership training. Others will have developed themselves with support from their colleagues or their organisations. So it can really vary. Leaders can become a leader via lots and lots of different routes. As you might be aware, there's so much available, from books to podcasts to videos. The kind of list is endless. So I think it's really important for leaders to find what works for them, being clear on what their learning style is, and them finding solutions that meet that. I suppose as the time I've been a leader, I've really noticed that people's leadership style develops over time, but is very reliant upon the feedback that they get, the personal reflection that they do, and their own personal development.
How do leaders deal with criticism about their leadership style, and how long can it take to see results?
So I think the way I'm going to answer this question is I would always say that people should see feedback rather than criticism as a gift. And that if someone's taken the time to give you some feedback and they're sharing their thoughts, that's a really great insight for you as a leader. And it's then, how do you review it? What action do you take? And what changes do you want to make as a leader? So for me, having a healthy and honest relationship with people in your team and people around you is so important to develop your leadership style and approach. And then there's an opportunity, if you have had some feedback, to make a small tweak or change to the way that you do something. And that could happen the next day. Or it sometimes might take you a couple of weeks to get into a new routine or rhythm based on some of the feedback that you've had. So for me, it's all about listening and taking on board feedback and thinking about how you might adapt your style accordingly.
How can leader-line coaching or mentoring help leaders grow?
Okay, so our offer, I believe, appreciate I'm biased, could help us in so many different ways. So if I just start off with coaching, the benefit for a leader of coaching for me would be working with a professional coach who will provide a safe and confidential space for you to explore the challenges or the development areas that you want to work on. Sometimes they'll ask you some quite challenging, thought-provoking questions that will enable you to think about things differently than you might have done before. Sometimes they hold up the mirror to you, which in itself can be very insightful. They'll help you reflect, but they'll also help you develop ideas to think about how you're going to move forward. So from a coaching perspective, that can really help leaders think about the approach that they want to take. Mentoring, on the other hand, is slightly different but similar. So mentoring takes a slightly different approach. We'd match you with a mentor who has the lived experience that you're looking for. So that might be the experience or knowledge that you as a leader might not have, or looking to learn from somebody else. And a mentor would work with you to work through the challenge by helping you with some personal development, but also sharing with you their experiences and knowledge, which might help you think about, well, how am I going to tackle that based on somebody else's experience? What am I going to take? How am I going to take the learnings from them? And we found that leaders can really benefit from both coaching and mentoring at possibly different times and points in their career. So for me, it's all about a leader thinking about how much they want to invest in themselves and whether coaching or mentoring would best meet their needs.
How can leaders balance developing themselves with being present for their team?
So I think, as we've already talked about, I believe leaders are on a constant learning journey. So I would say for leaders to develop themselves, they could be looking at how their team might help them develop. They could think about how do they be a positive role model for their team by showing things like vulnerability or not always knowing how to solve every problem, and also perhaps some of the areas of their own development. So I think as a leader, your development is an ongoing part of your responsibility, but I think you could work alongside your team so they're getting some development out of your development. And then when you're leading a team, you're obviously wanting to support and develop your team and helping them think about how they grow and how they develop. So they have that opportunity to learn from you and you have that opportunity to learn from them. So I suppose I see every interaction or every conversation as like a learning opportunity. I would never see a leader just focusing on becoming a leader or focusing on being present for their team. The two very much sort of merge together, and there feels like there's everyday learning opportunities for both the leader and their team.
Thank you for listening to this episode in our Leader Line podcast mini-series. To hear more, please check out our website or find us on LinkedIn. Thank you.